That's right.
Hello.
Hey.
Hmm.
Well, her guests can come in now and have a seat and everything. The guests can come in now and have a seat and everything. People are coming in with seats. Good afternoon, my villagers. Blessings and welcome. Listen, but before I get started here, I just want to pay tribute to two beautiful souls, two beautiful relatives who made their transition. We all gonna have to do that one day, but it's always difficult and always a little remorseful when we do. My brother-in-law, Tommy Burgess Sr., and made his transition, and my first cousin, Queen Esther Solomon, my traveling buddy. You
Mm.
know, we traveled throughout Africa and the Caribbean. We went to Bermuda, Alaska. Both may they both rest in peace and power, and we will find comfort in the memories uh, they left behind. And prayers go out to my cousin Vivian, beautiful soul. Not my cousin, that's my niece Vivian, beautiful soul. And we just pray for her. Pray for all of you out in the village that need our prayer and comfort. Uh, and my brother-in-law Homer, he's getting well from his surgery. Bless his soul. Again, I'll say good afternoon. You all know when I say good afternoon, I mean whatever good you can get out of the
Yes,
afternoon.
these days and times.
Yes, Lord. But before we get started today, important discussion. I'd like to share a few personal moments from last weekend. I wasn't here, and I'm just going to say I just missed my villagers. I miss you all, but the weather,
Hmm.
the weather was atrocious. A
Mm.
horrendous weekend, one of the hottest in recorded history, I understand. There are at least 25 heat related deaths and severe
Wow.
damage to the playing field areas. I tell you, trees rooted all over the place and all down the way, but all was not lost. My grandson and his family, who lost their home in the devastating storm that struck the playing fields last year, you all remember, they have finally signed into a beautiful new home.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. We gathered to give them a heartfelt send off as they started their new, exciting chapter in their lives.
Hmm.
And we thank God for the grace, His family, and for the new beginning.
Hmm.
That particular day, which was that Sunday, it was just a terrible weekend, the weather, but that Sunday was beautiful. And the rain only came at the very end. Praise God. But what a weekend it was. I also want to send much appreciation to my engineer. Well, yeah, he's on a nice, beautiful vacation now. But I'm talking about Stormy Norm. He is not only an outstanding audio
Yes.
engineer,
Yes.
but also a talented creator of programs.
Hmm.
He did a magnificent job promoting the 4th of July event
Hmm.
and helping make it a success in spite of the miserable weather.
Yes.
Great job, Norm, and enjoy your vacation. Right now, let me thank my team. I want to thank Sheila, my producer, and I want to thank uh, my uh, engineer, Norm, again, for the great work he does here. Want to thank my promo crew. I want to thank
Juanita.
Chastity
Okay.
and Harleen, of course, Juanita, the advisor,
Right.
and of course, my co host, Rosemore. I tell you,
Yes,
this lady is so dedicated and she's in for surgery herself, but I'm just praying and we just keep her in prayer. But
yes.
she just comes in like a champ and does what she needs to do. And of course, you all know me. I'm Ruby Williams Shivers, your unapologetic amateur, still looking for experts in Africanology. See how I switched the name?
Yeah, I
I
like
wanted
it.
to develop a term that's going to speak exactly to what I'm talking about. You know, we have oncologists, we have cardiologists, we have all those, and we need to put a name to what ails us.
Yes.
And if we say, and we do, that slavery was not just a crime, but an injury, well, something tells me we need to define it. We need to call it what it is so we can get somebody in to cure it. But now, my villagers, I'm confused. I know y'all all hear and see what I see. I see a world in turmoil,
Oh,
you know?
uh,
White folks taking us back where I came from, Ku Klux Klan,
yes.
and the whole 9 yards. Yet when I turn on my TV or any of the social media apparatus, I see merrymaking, as my mom would say.
Mm.
That's how she phrased it. I see the Jennifer Hudsons, I see Tamron Hall, I see Tyler Perry, Sherry, and others uh, filled with laughter, music, dancing,
Mm-hmm.
and merrymaking.
Mm-hmm.
For a moment, I wonder, am I missing something? Then I remember something about us, the African people, and the African American particularly. We have always known how to walk and chew gum
Yes.
at the same time.
Yes.
We worked the cotton fields while creating the blues. We cleaned the houses while producing the gospel. We even suckled their babies while establishing places to worship. So our ability to make merry has never meant we were free from pain.
That's right.
It meant we refused to let pain have the final word.
That's right.
But we have to be careful with that. Celebration is not the same thing as restoration.
That's right.
Joy is not proof that justice has been done. And our strength should never become an excuse or explanation. You know, I don't use the word excuse. You all know in my book I say that there's two words that we have to be very careful with, excuse and explanation. Excuse is when you're born under white privilege, and explanation is you're born through slavery, you know. So we don't use the word excuse. For us should not become an explanation to ignore our injuries. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, my villagers, let's continue to dance. Let's continue to celebrate life whenever we can. But let's never become so distracted
Yes.
by the music that we stop hearing the cries that still call us to healing. Having said that, our healing, I believe, will start with voting. You all know who I talk about voting. We've got to get the message, particularly to our young people. You know, I understand a lot of our young people don't get the connection. It's going to be up to us to advise them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Definitely. See, before some of our young people can understand the urgency of voting, they have to understand where we, as black people, African Americans, come from and how we are where we are now. See, I'm going to start by looking at the generations that make up our communities. First, as a member of the silent generation, I lived through legal segregation, Jim Crow, modern civil rights movement, and enormous social changes. I have witnessed America at some of its worst and seeing now how it's trying to get back there, trying to take us right back
Right.
to the
Yep.
worst.
Yep.
Now, since my generation, of course, came the baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, Generation Z, and now Generation Alpha. Neither generation, since my generation, has really witnessed what's happening now. So this election alone should put you back to where you've been, that you've never been. It will put you back to where you've never been. And that's serious. That's why I am spending my good days devoted to what the great ancestor, Brother Joe Madison, would ask, what you gonna do about it? Well, for me and my house, let me get off that soapbox, but a question for all of us. Everyone may not be able to do what I am doing, but we all can vote. Now, today, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, and what I need from you is your support. I'm involved with 3 major projects that will be coming out very soon. Number 1, my new book, Damaged Goods Made in America, which explores my belief that the legacy of slavery, Ma'afa as we have redefined it by Sister Anna, should be understood not only as a historical crime, but also an injury whose effects continue even today, which means we have been damaged, not permanently, but enough to be treated. Now, the second project is a memoir dedicated to my late son, and by extension to all African sons. I reference many of our young boys who have been mistreated by the system. But when I attempted to write the last chapter, another injustice of our babies came up.
Oh,
You know,
no.
this young man, 16, was murdered,
Yes.
shot in the back by Mr. Crow, a Korean merchant.
Oh, yeah.
Then, as I attempted again to close the chapter, less than a week later, another young baby was sentenced to 35 years
Yes.
for protecting himself against a gang that attacked him. I put my memoir aside for a moment, and just when I attempted to close the last chapter, lo and behold, this week we're talking about another one of our babies.
Yes.
Went out with friends, white friends,
So-called.
that is. Mm-hmm. And never came back.
Yes.
Found dead on a beach. Well, I told my publisher, we're closing this memoir, not because the struggle is over, but because someone must bear witness. I realized the final chapter is not mine to write. It belongs to the generation that finally decides that no more names should be added
Yes.
to that list.
Yes, absolutely.
We are in some serious, serious times.
Yes.
And now, the project number 3 that I have coming up is my documentary. I have a documentary which is 3 goals. Number 1, to affirm the value and the wisdom of African American elders. You know, I specified that. Didn't just say elders, African American elders. Unlike other elders from other communities, because we, unlike other elders who have moved through life sort of organically, we have been disrupted, interrupted, and uprooted. You know, so it is necessary for the African American elder to maintain the continuity necessary to restore our people back to their glorious selves. And number 2 in the documentary is the creation of a new dialogue called lexicon, the vocabulary to better explain our lived experience. What one word means to us holds a whole different meaning to someone else, you know?
Absolutely.
And I'll use it for instance. Hate, for instance, means control by the oppressor. Now, hate assigned to the African is only to devoid ourselves of oppression. See the difference? Number 3 in the vocabulary, you'll be talking about to understand slavery as both a crime and an injury, whose consequences deserve treatment as well as the study and diagnosis that we have, because we have a lot of those, no doubt about it. We have experts who have diagnosed, I think of Dr. Joy DeGraw, post-traumatic slave syndrome and others. We've had plenty of study and diagnosis. What we need is treatment. Don't get me wrong, however. This is not to imply that something is permanently wrong with us. No, something wrong was done to us. But in spite of that, we still come through above and beyond
Absolutely.
any other group we deal with. We've just been wounded, but we still survive and thrive. So don't you wonder what would happen. I wonder what would happen if we got back to our glorious self. So my documentary is very important, and I'm asking our experts, what I define it purposely and specifically, our experts and uh, those that have gone and studied. Why don't we create institutions, citadel, places to provide treatment for what ails us, same as any other injury is treated? So those are my projects coming out. Just want you to stay alert. See, I'm sounding the alarm, bringing you the knowledge, doing what thus said the Lord.
Absolutely.
You know, he said, my people will perish for lack of knowledge. And this work is exhausting, very exhausting, but somebody got to do it.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, my guest today, a young lady who has been doing it for over, I don't even want to talk about the years. She'll tell you. I knew this young lady when she was in high school.
Wow.
She's doing great things.
Wow.
She's done great things. Now she's going to tell you how old she is because she declared she's not ashamed of her age. Now that
Right.
topic, though, we will be talking about next week because it's important to know that there is a term called ageism, same as sexism, racism. These isms bring harm and grief. So it's not that anyone is ashamed of one's age. It's what society has made
Yeah.
aging
Yeah,
seem like,
stigmatism, yeah.
you know, something to conceal. But we'll talk about that next week. I want now my co-host, my friend Rose Moore, to introduce our guest, and we're going to be asking her some questions.
I am totally honored. I mean, just reading her resume, her bio
Mm-hmm.
was almost exhausting. I am proud and I am honored to tell you about Mariam Bey. Mariam Bey has produced education, women conferences, reentry forums, seminars, symposiums, roundtable discussions, and staff development programs since 1974. Kudos to you. Women History Month celebrations since 2022. In 1996, she received her Associate of Arts, and in 1998, she received her Bachelor of Science degrees in Education and Public Policy from St. Peter's University, located in Jersey City, one of my alma maters, in training and workshops. She empowered participants with information they can apply to transform their lives or the lives of others and their students and clients. She was elected Newark's Public School Board member in 2001 and elected school board president in 2003. Very impressive. Miriam has 22 years experience working in the prison reentry and returning citizen population when she began working with formerly incarcerated individuals in 2004. She was council aide to Councilwoman Betsy Walker, who placed Miriam in charge of the Councilwomen's Reentry Program. She began working at the Kentot Group Halfway House in Newark, New Jersey in 2006. In 2008, she was hired at Delaney Hall, which was recently in the news because of ICE. Delaney Hall, an alternative to incarceration program, and remained until 2014. She was hired by the city of Newark to work in the mayor's reentry program. Her accomplishments precede her. And with the correctional facility Reconnecting Family program in 2016.
Yes.
The Kentuck program services in 2020. She also successfully coordinated the first Delaney Hall Reentry Service Day in 2019 and 2021.
Mm-hmm.
There is just so much here. I'm going to skip a little bit and
Mm-hmm.
just give you a highlight and let her get
Mm-hmm.
deep dive
Mm-hmm.
into her experiences and share her knowledge with us.
Mm-hmm.
Miriam is an author of Broken Spirits, Let It Go. So, and I can identify with that as a psychologist. So, you can grow a book about her years working in the prison system, 1974 to 1984, 10 years. She is a reentry specialist, of course she is, an education who does not allow clients or residents to make excuses for the choices they have made and helps them to make better choices to impact a better life. In 2016, she founded a television show.
Mm-hmm.
My God, as a platform for those formerly incarcerated who were released and became testimonies of success to tell their stories to others and to those who were incarcerated.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Absolutely, that is
What
so
what
important.
a list of
What a list,
accomplishment,
what a
and
list.
she's still working it, as the young people would
Yes.
say.
I
So,
just have two more items I want
okay.
to bring up because
Mm-hmm.
I want her to talk about these.
Mm-hmm.
Miriam has received many awards, not surprisingly so, for her involvement in community. In 2026, she received the Community Advocacy Awards. And as a person of advocacy and social justice,
Yes.
Well,
All
kudos.
right.
to you. And she got this award in honor of Women's History Month from the Municipal Office of the West Ward Councilman. Well, congratulations. And lastly, I want to say that Miriam is the PTA president. Malcolm X Shabazz
Was.
was,
Yes.
and I remember when it was Southside High School.
That's right.
I remember.
Yes.
Elementary Parent Council Chair
Mm-hmm.
and North Board of Education.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was impressed about was the North Math Academy coordinator to students on a like you don't do enough during the week, a Saturday program that addressed the mathematical needs of our students. And by this time, I am exhausted. And I'm
what
not
a
even, yeah,
list of, I
I'm
know,
telling
what a
you,
list of
I'm telling you.
accomplishment. My friend, welcome, my friend, and tell
Welcome,
us
welcome.
Thank
first
you.
what drives you.
I tell you,
Well, you know what drives me? God drives me.
Oh,
absolutely,
that's the
we can't
answer.
do it without
That
Because
is the answer.
this is what I know for sure,
absolutely.
that God has a purpose for all of us.
Yes, it does.
And when God showed me that mine was education,
Mm-hmm.
I just got into it. Prior to that, Ruby is going to laugh about this, but prior to that, I was in a singing group.
Yes.
We were in a singing group, and we sang at the Apollo Theater.
Yes, we
And
did.
we were
didn't
singing and all that stuff. I thought I was going to be the next Diana Ross.
Wow.
Could have been.
Wait a
Well, it
minute.
Woman
just
of
wasn't.
many talents.
Yes, not. And then when I was when I performed at Symphony Hall, which is about 3 years ago,
Wow.
I performed "Many Men" by 50 Cent.
Okay.
Wow.
And so when I left the car, I slammed the car door and I said, "God, are you trying to be funny?" I said, "Are you telling me I want to be Diana Ross and I'm going to be 50 Cent?"
How he means. He knows what he's doing.
God knows what he's doing. And this is why I say this. Because when I started working in the prison system, I needed to have someone, because I mainly worked with brothers. I worked with
Okay.
sisters too, but most of the brothers and sisters inside it was that I worked with were brothers.
Okay.
And I needed them to have someone that they could relate to. And someone told me to look at Get Rich or Die Trying,
Mm-hmm.
which I did.
His book.
And then on Oprah Winfrey's show, the book The Secret had come out.
Right.
And in it, there was a brother by the name of Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith.
Okay.
And he was selling drugs for 10 years
Mm-hmm.
from California, Southern to New York, and he never got caught. And when he did get caught, it was a year before that, he had made his choice. I'm not doing this anymore.
Of course.
And he told somebody. Then they told somebody. The next thing you know, he was arrested.
That's how the adversary is.
Yes, and then the mother said, Michael, you got to leave because if you don't, you're going to go to prison. He said, no, I'm not leaving. On a technicality, he got off.
Okay.
Yes, today he is one of the most famous ministers
Okay.
who is advocating for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And I love him. And the reason why I use him in my lectures is because he did what the guys inside did. He just didn't get caught.
Right.
Yeah.
But what he did was he changed his
Absolutely.
whole
Right.
out, things that he was doing. He did what 50 Cent said about himself. He redefined himself
Yeah.
in order for him to become who he was destined
And
to be.
that's capable of all of
it's
our
applicable to
all
all
of our
us.
people.
Right.
To
It's just
all
that
of
we
us.
understand and learn that we were
Exactly.
injured and some of us got away
Yep.
less than others.
Yes.
But the bottom line, if we don't understand that, we're going to always point fingers at each other and say, why aren't you doing this, or why aren't you did it like this person or that one? That was just happenstance. That was God, first of all.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
happenstance, and that's what
Absolutely.
He
happened.
knew his end from his beginning.
And see, and God knew that what I wanted to do and still do is serve,
Right.
because that's my purpose.
Right.
And it's not work. I love what I do. When you
Right.
love what you do, it's not work.
Exactly.
And getting back to what you were talking earlier about the you said that your generation what?
They call me the silent generation,
Oh, the
but I'm
silent-
not
oh.
silent.
Oh, right. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Anything but.
Okay.
Anything but.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I'm so happy that I grew up in the era with Malcolm X, because during that time, I witnessed all those things that was going on with us, that's going on right now.
Right.
Because I felt the same as you, Ruby. What you said, that we seem like we're beginning to repeat.
We
Yeah,
are,
what,
yeah.
definitely.
what's going on, what happened back in the day.
Exactly.
Because I was born April 6, 1951.
Right.
I turned 75 years old in April the 6th.
Happy birthday. That's my son's birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Isn't that
All
a
right. Well, then you
coincidence?
got to tell him I said, go shorty.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I know. When God, I have never in my life, Ruby, been ashamed to say my age. Since I was a little girl, I always said what my age is. And now I'm at the point where I'm saying, well, God, thank you for letting me say I'm 75 years young, because there ain't nothing old about me.
Right,
Okay,
exactly.
it's just a number. And when we think, if I thought I was old, I would be old.
Right. Right.
I take no medications. I exercise every single day. I don't take the elevator at my job.
Okay.
And emotionally, what we think and feel is very important to our
Yes.
health.
Yes.
You know, and what I'm witnessing right now, what you were saying, Ruby. Yeah, all these things are happening, but a lot of us have something to do with it too. So, I'm not excusing some of the things that we have been doing to each other, because now you're in a seat and you could do certain things
Right.
just because.
Right.
You know.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, in
And-
my book, so we can be clear, like my villagers, they know I use I sort of admonish us all the time about about words. Is one of the reasons in my new documentary coming out, I'm making a place there specifically to create sort of a new lexicon for us, in order to represent more better our lived experiences. See, excuse, I've done a T-shirt some time ago. In the back it says, excuses for those who have white privilege, meaning that you don't really have an excuse, and whatever you say is an excuse, because you could have come from the bottom to the very top without any effort. With us, it's an explanation, because we have not been in any way treated for none of the injuries that we suffered. So we can't say, if I say to you today that I don't, and this is one of the things I often tease about, if I tell you I don't like collard green, you say, why? I say, we call it slavery. You can't say it's not, because we have never gone through any kind of testing on any level to see if that might be the case. Now we've had experts, and we have experts who have gone through the diagnosis, gone through a whole lot of things to bring us to where we can know what's happened to us. But that is, I make an example. If I told you I had stage 4 cancer, and you just explained to me that I need to do this, that, and the other, without saying, well, you need to go see a professional who have studied that, an oncologist that can help cure you. See, we miss that with what we are. We know that we have injured. We have been injured, not just the crime. Slavery was not just the crime. And I want to make that very well known.
No.
It was an injury. And if you're injured and be untreated for over 400 years, don't tell me that there's not effect that we, me, the least of us. When I say that I'm an unapologetic amateur, I mean it seriously. But it takes our experts, the ones who have studied it, to come together as an oncologist would and form some kind of treatment plan for us. That's why I say I use the word explanation instead of excuse, because we really don't know. We haven't been treated to that effect. But I understand clearly where we're coming from, because we don't know that. So we can't expect even the best of us. A lot of our young brothers was a little offended when President Obama came out with his, what was the name of his new, what is it? I forget now, but anyway, he created something to help the brothers. Right. And he sort of implied that it was their fault that they were not doing certain things. Could have been better. They got a little offended. I can understand why they got a little offended. I can understand why he didn't know. Although he's a PhD, he was the president of the United States, does not mean he's expert in Africanology. Right. That's why I stress that. Gotta know what you know, what you know, what you know. Otherwise, we'll just kind of go on what we feel, not what we know that effect has done. But you're doing great work. I love that, in particular when you're working with the prison system, because that's where many of our young
most of our injured
people.
And then it's injury. It's insult and injury.
Insult and injury.
But you know, with everything that you said, for me, the bottom line is that there are black people who are hurting black people.
Yes.
Part of the injury.
But see, what I'm saying is that you have black people in positions where they do what they do just because they can, as opposed to saying, you know what can I do to make this person's life better?
Right.
But how would they? How would be with her?
See, if you're going to be in a position like I can only speak for myself, okay. My goal is anyone who is sitting in front of me is to help them, not to judge them.
Right. Because you have not been as injured as maybe a Clarence Thomas. No, I'm not you. Not you. I don't mean personal.
Oh, okay.
I don't mean me personal. I mean, we are talking now about, for instance, like with a Clarence Thomas. Now, he's a Harvard graduate, but he's one of the most injured people in our community.
Injured?
Sick. That's sickness. That's when you've been up
really
with the pandemic. Then we go around knowing the ones that was sick and the ones that was really seriously injured. You know what I'm saying? So we got to look at ourselves unless we do that and we will one day, because with my documentary, even for the well-heeled, you know, I don't have I'm not a Rhodes Scholar, don't have a lot of letters don't have any letters behind my name. So I'm wondering, curious as to why our experts are not thinking what the amateurs thinking.
Because they have to care. That's the bottom line. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. They have to care.
Right, but why don't they care?
That I don't know.
That's the question, though.
But see, I'm not worrying about why they don't or do not care, because my responsibility is to care.
Exactly.
And you do.
Exactly.
What you do.
Right. And see,
and it's our responsibility. I'm not cutting you off, but I want to make this clear, because this is what this whole show is about, for a new idea, new understanding. It's going to come, and it's up to me, because I'm the least of the ones. But at least like with Moses, God chose Moses, and he wasn't the best of the best, but he chose him. So maybe he's chosen me to make a point that has not been made, and it seems like it's not been made. So when you see me keep going after, cutting people off, that's not naturally what I do, but it's what I need to do for people to understand what I'm trying to get through here. I'm trying to say, if we've been injured, and we admit we have, Because the United Nations just came out and said what we went through was not one of the worst, but the worst atrocity ever. If that is the case, think about it from a bigger to a higher level. If I had my heart right now, had something wrong, you wouldn't tell me to go in and see my Rose. She's right here in it, but you would immediately say, well, let's call a cardiologist. Let's take her to a hospital. No one has done that to us, but they expect us to come out clean and clear from 200, at least 200 years. Forget about the last 200 mutation and all that that's gone on with what we went through. See, we have been damaged, but we're such great people that our resistance, the resiliency of us, should be recognized. Most people will never have come through what we have come through, but even with that, we're still damaged, and we can't expect some things that happen, or either we just ask why.
Well, see, that's one of the reasons why having people who care about people is important.
Oh, definitely.
Because, see, when I was 15 years old, you know the reason why I left Elizabeth was because I was raped by my father at 15, okay? And that damaged me for a little bit in terms of not being with my family, okay?
Right.
But here's the thing. God has been with me all my life, even during that. And my defining moment was when I started working in the prison system. And the sisters, black, white, Latino, who was in there, they were talking about them being molested by a friend, a family member,
Yes.
or someone that they knew.
Yes.
And when I heard that, I said, God,
You're not alone.
that's why you let that happen to me.
Right.
Because you knew I was going to be here to help these women. And then we started doing some things, okay, and it helped them.
Oh,
to
definitely.
this day, I'm still doing that.
Yeah.
Because as we get older, we have our wisdom. And what God gives to us, he don't give it to us. He gives it to us to share,
Absolutely.
to help
Absolutely.
others.
Absolutely.
And
It's
that's
not
what
for
I
us.
do, you know?
Yes.
And
you do it
and
well.
He's prepared
he's
us,
preparing it.
but our gifts
Yes.
are for other people.
That's it.
It has always been.
That's
And
right.
amazing.
And that is most amazing.
Yes.
And that's,
perspective
yeah.
Yes.
on how, because you, from a psychologist's perspective, your perspective, because I'm education too.
Yes.
That's my number one gift that God has given me.
Yes.
All my life from a kid.
Yes. Yes.
If my
Yes.
whatever we can do, my mother let us do whatever. A blackboard. Sit down, my brothers and sisters. You're gonna learn.
Right.
But where I understand what Ruby's saying, and I understand what you're saying. You have to, but there is a force, and we're waking up, just not quick enough. There is a force that is greater than what we are, because greater is He that's in us than he that is in the world. So the bottom line is it's within you. So
That's
until
right.
you look within,
That's right.
then you can care about what's without.
That's
but,
right.
And even know what's going on without.
Yes.
Because a lot of people are involved in the outer world, but yet, he said, be in this world and not of it. And we are yet not scathed by what's going on. Don't feel a sensitivity. Because you can't tell me Clarence Thomas feels a sensitivity.
Yeah.
But
about
why?
what's going
See,
on.
my
Yeah, but-
my question. I've always, from a kid, I've always had this sense of why, the why of it. Then when I read this great great man, this great educator, this great scientist of what's his name? I can't tell. Not Rick Raku, the other one, Einstein, who said, "I'm not so smart. I'm just curious." That's says something to me. I've just always been a curious person. When I hear the words "why," I want to know why not. So I don't just go along with the why. Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing this? If we build the pyramids, if we created science, if we created languages, if we did this and we did this, great societies. Prior to the 400 years we was over here, something tells me there's a why within all that. So to point fingers at us, and what I'm trying to say is I understand, we all are not going to get it. So I'm not arguing the point. So when you hear me debating with my people anywhere, it's not for the debate's sake. It's just to throw out the idea that if we don't continue to ask the questions why, we're going to get hung up with what we're doing. What we're
Yes.
doing and what we're not doing, but we don't. When we can come to the answer, the questions of, then why are we doing it? Is it because we want to hate each other? We want to hate ourselves? We don't want to advance? Something then got to rekindle some thoughts about why people do what they do. You will never ask a stage 4 cancer person, why are you in the shape you're in? Your advice probably would be, first of all, well, you need to see an oncologist. You need to see a specialist. That would be automatic. So
Yeah.
ours was worse than any cancer. Ours was worse than any everything else. So why don't we think in those terms? And we will one day. I'm just passionate about it now. But believe me, I know it will come one day when we put this in perspective.
Well,
And
see,
What did you learn?
well, that's
from
one.
the,
That's one of the
dealing-
things that, like I said, I'm glad I was born in the civil rights movement era. Okay, because it taught me a whole lot.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
But the good thing is that I was born on a farm. Okay, and that started. Now I understand what my grandparents was doing when they was bringing things back in the house, going from the woods and bringing it to the house. What it was they was bringing natural food
Right.
to us.
Right. Right.
And
it's a lot of stuff. It's not
yeah.
just one thing
Right,
that
but
goes
see-
into this. It's a
Right,
lot of
right.
stuff.
But see, the thing, like when you just when you just said about a person having cancer, what you say to them, when people come to me, the first thing that I say to them, first of all, I'm not a doctor.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is that's the ultimate
Right.
thing. You're not a doctor.
But the key thing for me is that you have to know what you're eating. You have to know what's in you, what you're putting in you, physically and mentally.
Right.
And you have to be grateful and thankful because whatever you have, it could be cured.
Advice. You
And
gave
you have
advice,
to
but
give
you
to 'em. And
said
see-
at first, I'm
Yeah.
not a doctor.
Oh no, no,
And
I
that's
don't
the
do
end.
that.
Right.
And so I always tell them because when I tell people my age, they just don't believe that I'm the age that I am. When they see how I move and everything, they don't believe that. The reason why I do what I do is because I take care of myself.
And God gives you
And
that wisdom.
this is what, and then I get very happy from the Creator
There you go.
because see, I'm doing His work.
Right.
Like you said, you don't have any letters. For me to just because I have letters, it don't mean nothing to me.
Right.
What is how I would say more important to me is the work that I've done.
Oh, I have
and-
letters. I
and
am
that-
a degreed person. I'm not a PhD in the
Oh
yeah.
no, that's okay.
Uh-huh.
But what I'm saying is that none of that means anything to me. I'm just grateful that God allowed me to get it because in society, that's what is required.
Right.
So the blessing is that I dropped out of high school because I got married and pregnant, and then I went on to get 2 degrees and certificates and everything.
Right, you did come
And what I tell the clients is that I don't want to hear no excuses.
Right.
Because if you want it, you'll make it happen.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And see what a lot of us tend to do is make excuses so that when you're making excuses, that is keeping you stuck
That's a defense
in
mechanism.
in the past instead of you taking responsibility for your part
Right.
in it, all right? And then because if I had stayed stuck at what my father did to me,
Right. You wouldn't have moved on.
I would not be doing what I'm doing today and about to do today
Let me ask you
because
this.
I'm
Okay.
getting ready to have a program for women, and the title is going to be "Health is Your Wealth, and Healthy is Sexy."
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me ask you a question about looking at the so-called experts, because everybody's not an expert, even
Right.
if they have those credentials over their
Right?
name.
Absolutely.
And not only are everybody's not an expert, but everybody's not an expert in everything. Like pharmaceutical company, well, doctors and scientists that are paid top dollars in this country, their medication, a lot of it is not for the black man.
I
Okay.
don't use it.
Most of our stuff is natural.
Let me just.
And I
Exactly.
feel better when I'm natural. Wait a minute, I want to answer a question.
Okay, I want to recognize my
I want to
villagers and while they
say,
up here,
oh,
so
okay.
But
Okay,
you go and finish.
all right. I just want to ask you, let her recognize her thing, but I want to, when she comes back, I want to ask you that what I do know that we all have in common with the experts and people that do the work, that are called to do the work, the one thing that they have to do is their due diligence in studies. And I know that you've interviewed and talked to enough people, the brothers that were incarcerated, the women that have been violated. You talk to enough of them
Mm-hmm.
to have enough study background, because after all, I just got my credentialing last week. We get our credentialing based on evidence, how well we are able to decipher evidence-based experts and what we can add to it, because they're the foundations. So that's what I like you, because I know that you have it under your belt of 22 years of dealing with this. You definitely have something to add that you have extracted, just like every doctor, every PhD has. They have to do studies.
Yes. Well. See,
Okay,
Well,
just
she's
before
gonna-
you start, I
yeah.
want to
Oh,
recognize
yeah.
my
I was gonna give you
villagers.
the thing
Assalamu
about
alaikum.
okay.
My condolences, prayer. Thank you, baby, so much. And Lord Shivers, say good afternoon, family. Aristo, hello, brother. Lord Shivers was at the big house last Monday. Aristo again. I know Robert is checking in. I don't see his name right now, but we'll get back. Joy Jackson from California. I see Tim. Pull it up a little bit, baby. And Rashida Johnson, always there. Sheila Bird. Okay, Sony Shivers. All right, Jabbar. Sadana, I'm listening, teacher. Okay, it was a great topic today. Thank you so much. And before we go further, you are a psychologist, so you are more in depth with human nature than most of us who are just doing other things. There's a reason that there's experts in areas. It's not just something
Yeah,
to say.
right, of
There's a
course.
reason for that.
Of
So
course.
if I'm an expert in cardiology, I wouldn't expect even the expert in oncologist
Right,
to know what I know.
absolutely,
So all I'm
absolutely.
asking you again, think about it. You don't have to answer the
Absolutely.
question.
You're
When I
absolutely
make the
correct.
statement that we need our experts in Africanology,
Absolutely.
the term means that someone who have studied, not me, you, or you.
Right.
We have studied in other areas. I'm
Right.
very well studied in certain areas.
Right.
I'm an
Yeah.
expert in blackness. I'm an expert in being black because I'm
Yeah.
be black every day. I get up in the morning, there's racism here,
That's right.
racism. I'm black,
Absolutely.
but I'm not an expert in black living. I mean, I'm an expert in black living, but I'm not an expert in living black. Living black entails so many things that we have to
Absolutely.
deal
So
with.
many, Ruby,
So it
many.
takes those people who go and excavate in Egypt. It takes those people who study psychology like Dr. DeGraw, post-traumatic slave syndrome. It takes those people like Dr. John Henry Clark who have studied all throughout history. It takes all those kind of specialized people, not giving them any kind of credit other than what they do.
But they deserve
No,
their kudos.
right. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying, they could not come here and treat my whatever. They couldn't do that. I wouldn't allow Dr. John Henry Clark, as smart as he is, to come here and treat my heart. So why should we think that we can treat Africanology, or that way I framed it, or Africanism, without having some kind of specialized treatment? That's
Right.
all I'm
a
ever
framework
saying.
that is designed
Exactly, and you
for
as a
our
psychologist,
particulars, and I
exactly, you
understand
would know
exactly
that.
what you're saying.
So,
and it takes a lot of people, as you're saying, with the expertise in Africanology
yeah.
to come to the table, because it's a very complex injury
Exactly, a very
with levels.
defined thing
Right.
that they're going to, not
Very
just something that
different
we
levels.
think. So a lot of us have thought. I can believe this. I can say, well, this person is doing this out of excuse. But how do I know? I haven't treated that. I haven't tended
But
to it.
deciding, I think she means deciding to do.
Yeah.
No, I
better.
understand what
Oh,
she
yeah,
means,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm saying mine is deeper than that. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
That's why I'm
right.
doing the documentary, because
Right.
I want to explain it in terms that maybe the person with the greatest degree of letters behind them still may not understand
That's true.
the
But
depth of what
That
I'm
is
talking
true.
about.
That is
But
true.
but see, for me,
Mm-hmm.
there's no disagreement or anything,
Right,
Because you have the right to
Mm-hmm.
say what you say, feel what you
Right.
feel, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've learned over the years,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how many degrees you have. Okay, I don't care where you've been in the world, when you're talking about working with people,
Mhm.
the bottom line
Mhm.
is that you're supposed to care about
Right.
them.
Empathy.
Okay.
Empathy is number one.
And
Rose can
and
continue to. She
here's
could
and
Empathy
here's
is
it.
she
number
could
one.
talk
And
about that
here's the
because of what
thing,
she just went through. She knows that
because
the person who's supposed to do your surgery
Right.
does not care.
yeah,
So
but
that has
that's
nothing
but
to do with caring. It
Right.
has to do with his professionalism in terms of what he knows about what
no.
you need to do.
Here's the thing. I disagree with that
It's okay.
because you have to
Disagree.
care.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
if I
Oh, yeah,
cared
you should.
That's what
about
we're
you,
saying. He doesn't.
if I cared, then I'm gonna make sure you get what you're supposed to
Absolutely.
get. That's the bottom line. I've seen people that have their degrees and working in positions, and they do not care.
Yeah, but we're not talking
Okay.
about exceptions. I'm talking
So,
about
but
But
generally.
you're both saying the same thing
Well,
because
right.
she's right. What is the problem? Was the empathy was not there, and the empathy of not caring, of not being present, made him negligent in my care
Exactly.
and in his profession.
Exactly.
And yet he is a professional for over 30 years. There's a problem.
It is, and you know, I'm so grateful to God that I depend on God
Yeah, me
for
too.
everything. Okay, when I have problems, I go to Him, and He lets me know what I have to do, and I do it. And I've learned, and like I said, in all the years that I have been working, I've been working since I was 16 years old. Okay, and I'm 75 years young and
Yep.
still working, still doing
working.
things. And the bottom line for me is that I love what I do because I care.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, when I have people who come to me, I care about them.
Right.
When I was working in the prison system, I told the brothers, I said, look, you are not inmates. You're my students, and I'm your professor. And I have great expectations of you to
Right,
achieve because there is greatness in you.
Right.
And based on that, a lot of them became successful because I cared enough to share with them what they need to do and
Well,
all the lectures that I did
Yeah.
because of the expectations that I had. So the first ingredient for me is that I have to care about this person. Or whatever job it is that I'm doing.
Labor of
I
love.
have to care. I have to care
But my
about it first.
psychologist, bear with me if I keep going to you because I'm going to depend on somebody like you to understand better than me. Well, if I had a heart condition right now, your caring about me might help me go through the day.
You're
But
right.
what will you suggest I do after your
Be a
caring about me?
specialist.
That's all I'm saying. That's how
You
we
see,
can
it's
care as
But
much
that's
as
what I'm
we
saying. It
want
takes
to.
more than it takes.
Because we going to care.
Many
My village
to come
care.
to the table.
Yeah.
And I'm like Tyler Perry. If you're not invited to the table, make your own
But this
table.
is not going to go over all. I know. I don't understand. I sit here and argue the point because I can chat with
Yeah.
my friends.
Yeah.
But I understand it just like any other misunderstood phenomenon. It's not going to get to everybody because they already got
But
their
we
mind
can
made
still
up.
be on one accord.
Exactly.
Yes.
Even though we
Yeah.
have a different perspective.
Well, it's
that
not.
we're
I
bringing.
don't want to bring that in. It's not my different aspect. I'm not trying to convince people or anything.
Right.
I'm trying to. The truth is out there. So
Right.
if I tell you you need an oncologist, that's the truth. That's not debating anything.
Right.
If I tell you you need a cardiologist, that's not debating.
Right.
If I tell you that you need a whatever, that's the way I'm saying here.
But the
This is
perspective
not the
that I
debate.
mean is a perspective of a psychologist. The perspective or the expertise. Let me put it that
Right,
way.
expertise,
That
not perspective.
We all need to come to the table, but what's
Yeah.
important is nobody's coming to that table unless what she is saying be on one accord.
The psychologist.
We're
You're
all
my
saying the
psychologist.
same thing.
No, I don't think so
From
right
different
now.
areas.
But we're agreeing on something. But what we got to understand from the perspective, I don't want anyone to misunderstand. I want them to put what I'm saying in the light of specialty. A specialty in this, that, or that. I have a mechanic that comes in for my car. I don't know a thing about it. I know how to drive it. But when it comes to the technical stuff, getting my car ready, that's not my specialty.
Right.
Right.
So I don't pretend or I don't try to engage in areas that I know is not my specialty.
Right.
Right.
So that's all I'm saying. If we can
Yeah.
connect our terrible situation, we've been injured, not by choice, but over the years when they was cannibalizing us. I just learned later
They
was
still
eating us.
doing
But
it.
that's all this is still
Yeah,
happening.
so you
And it's
know
not
it.
just, yeah,
So
but
it
see,
takes
but it's
more
just
than
not
just me
happening
being
by,
a sympathetic. It just takes more than me being sympathetic. It takes more than me being advisory. It takes me having studied like Dr. DeGraw. She went and studied
But you don't think
post-traumatic.
that there's a lot of specialists out there
We-
that
that's
don't,
all-
that don't know? I know you know. That's why you're doing this podcast, and that's why I'm with
Right,
you.
I'm saying.
There are a lot of what I've learned
Uh-huh.
from being on this podcast, and and seeking out professionals that I can invite to bring to the table
Right.
for our cause, which
Yeah.
is social justice advocacy.
right, right.
It's not worth a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth their while. You understand?
Right, yeah.
Meaning, they got big careers. They have accountability to the people that they're working for. So there's a lot. They would have to take their time away from. They have families. They have other things that. So it would have to take from their time and getting our people together. That's why God is with her, and that's why she's making it adamant about people understanding to reach. We all have, and what she's saying is we all have that accountability. But I think about what happened, and then I'm going to be quiet and let you talk. I think about what happened in the Bible in Genesis. They had to be in one accord. Call it one accord, call it caring, call it understanding, call it unity. God said they were coming up the Tower of Babel that they built to come up to him. A lot of balls, right? Coming up to him. And he said to a host of angels, let us go down and confine them, because the people have become one. And they will accomplish what they set out to
Now,
do.
you all, my Fillinger,
There
you
you
see
go.
we have serious conversations here. So that's why
Yeah.
you have to tune in and check us out.
That's-
You're all going to be sharing your knowledge with us. And through it all, we know that someone's going to catch it one way or the other. And that's all that's here for. We are here to share information. We don't want to perish for lack of information, and we can get a whole lot of information. It does not have to be necessary for us. Again, my time is running short, but I'm so glad we're going to have this guest back because she is
have
so
to. She has so
powerful.
much.
She has so much to offer,
Yeah.
and what we've got to do as our people of African descent, we got to understand just so we can get through what we've been through or try to get through it. We got to understand ourselves the same as you would understand any other major injury. Wherever I'm writing now, whatever I'm doing, I'm making the point that we were not just crime. Slavery was not just a crime. It was an injury. Once we see it in that light, injury, we'll know that it needs tending to. Regardless of what else we got going, it requires us to get our experts. And when I use that word, I use it definitively and purposely. We got to get our experts in those areas of study so that they can come
Bring them
together,
together.
the same as an oncologist, the same as a cardiologist, the same as any of those other specialty, to get together to study that specific thing we went through. And I call it Africanology. So they say to cure a thing, you got to name a thing. So I have named a thing.
Yes.
And so once we get that in our heads, we can talk, and we don't expect anyone right now to get fully what it is. I'm trying to say, I know I got to get more expert myself in the explanation around what I'm trying to say.
Plain, and it makes sense.
Not necessarily, it don't have to be. Believe me, if it was that plain, then we would have what I'm requesting. But it's obviously not that plain.
It's plain, Ruby. It's that people our people. They're damaged. Even a lot of the experts are damaged.
That's you just said it.
Well, see, and that
Now
was
you
and
agree.
that was one
A
of the
lot of the
points
experts are
that I
damaged.
was making, because that is true. You know, even the experts are.
Right.
But since we're getting ready to end, what I want to say is that for the brothers and sisters that I work with who are incarcerated or have been incarcerated, one of the things that I get them to do is change their mindset. And by doing that, it's based on the information, our discussions that we have amongst each other,
Right.
because a lot of things they will not say. And you have to know how to bring it out of them.
Right.
Yes.
And because when it comes out, it's because they trust you.
Right.
And I remember when I did a lecture at Delaney Hall, and the lecture was on snitching and telling. Okay? Because they would give a lot of information. And when I realized they was providing too much information, I would tell them, okay, that's too much information. Okay? Because if you give me too much information, I'll have to report it. Okay?
Wow.
So then I
Right.
did it.
Right.
I said, now let me do a lecture on snitching and telling. And then I said, I'm not a snitch, I'm a teller. Because when you provide certain information to me, I have to report it.
Right.
Okay? And they said, Miss Bay, you are right about that. I said, yes, I'm not trying to hurt anybody,
Right.
but I'm not a snitcher either. I am a teller.
Right.
They can
Okay.
respect you.
Yes.
The level of expertise you just expressed that everybody doesn't have.
Yes.
There's expertise in our areas.
Yes.
All I'm trying to do, that's don't demean the one that's necessary. Where what you're doing is so necessary. I probably wouldn't have been able to get that far. That's not my area of expertise.
But you
Why-
have your area of expertise.
I have. No, I'm
That's
not
right.
saying.
More than one.
No,
Yes, thank you.
I do. I
You
do.
may not recognize
No,
what you
I
do.
do. I do. No, I recognize. I recognize one of the
Yes.
areas of expertise is to try to impart what I'm trying to.
But Ruby, let me
impart.
ask you this question: how do we get our expertise?
How do we get it? We
Yes.
get it. We don't. It's already there. I just named them. We have Dr. DeGraw. We have
No,
Dr.
no.
Ben.
I'm not talking about
You
who
know
we
how
have.
we? Oh, how we get
I'm
it?
talking about
Where to start.
how. This is how
Oh,
we
I
get
see what
it.
you mean. We get
You
it by
have to-
studying. No.
Not just by studying.
No, that's what.
You
But
have to go through
no,
stuff.
no.
too.
But that's
Yes,
what
you do.
You're right. No. You're
Uh-huh.
right. What you're talking about.
Yes.
But what I'm talking about, you wanted to know what I'm talking about in my area. I'm
Yes.
talking about studying. Nothing else. You can dream it, think it, whatever. God may bring it to you, because God brings certain things. Because I always reference Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad.
Oh, the
He
Honorable
was
Elijah Muhammad.
He was like a third grade dropout, but he had a
Yes.
specialty.
And
God
they killed him for
apparently,
it.
no, I'm just saying that to create an organization that he has that's still going and one of
That's
the
right.
biggest and
Right.
best in the country.
Right.
So some people just automatically endowed with that specialty. I'm
Right.
talking about other than that, you would have to go like an oncologist. They may have grown up, they may have come up as a baby wanting to be a doctor, but until they went to school to study that, it didn't happen. So that's what I'm saying. Let's be clear. Ours is so serious that we should not just poo-poo it and just say, "Oh, anybody can do it." No, it takes Dr. DeGraw. It takes the John
have to
Henry
go
Clark.
through it.
It takes those people who have studied in,
Yes.
out, and about
Right.
of why we are in the position. Because that does not mean that anything wrong with us. It just means that we got to tend to that which is wrong with us.
And see, this is something that you bring to my mind. Several years ago, I worked with a young lady who had dropped out of high school, and I asked her. I said, "You have to have a minimum of a high school diploma. Why don't you have it?"
Right.
And so she said, "Well, she having some baby daddy drama." I said, "Wait a minute, I need you to stop right there." Okay? I said, because I dropped out too. I said, but then I went on and got 2 degrees.
Yeah.
I said, it's what
I
you
hate
want.
cutting you off, but
It's
they're
what
telling
you
me my
want in
time
life.
is up. You're going to have to come back. Now,
Yes,
you're going to promise
yes.
us you're going to come back and be our guest, because we have
Absolutely.
just a great
Trial and
conversation.
error.
You have a lot
Okay.
to talk about. You have a
Yes.
lot to teach us, and all the our people who are out there needing the kind of expertise you have.
Right.
So we're going to have you back, and we're
Okay.
just so pleased that you could come. And
Yes, me too. Thank you, Ruby. Thank
and
you
my
so much for
villagers,
inviting
I
us.
am
Nice
so
meeting
pleased
you.
that you all
Phenomenal woman.
phenomenal
You're a
woman.
phenomenal woman.
My villagers, thanks so much for your patience and thanks for you always covering us. And we say, God bless.
God bless you, villagers.